Today's topic, I'm Ray, by the way, Elder, Universal House of Prayer, North Carolina. Today's topic is Wake County government, and in particular, the focus on the Wake County South Wilmington Street Center for Men, and the little known secret. The little known secret is a big open policy, practice, and so forth. Here's the thing: is that everybody's going hoopla la and crazy over this president that decides, hey, look, I'm going to hire my friends and do X, Y, and Z according to people who love and appreciate me. Here's the thing: in Wake County, that's been going on ever since I got here in North Carolina. Wake County is a small county town, and we're talking about Wake County human resources in particular. Uh, Here's the thing: I was employed under Urban Ministries at the South Wilmington Center for Men. I was a bilingual intake manager doing the split shift, and it was good because Urban Ministries had diversity. They hired people who were qualified. Remember this. This is the whole presidential umbus. And you were qualified, you got the job. Here's the thing: is that was when South Wilmington Street Center was operated by Urban Ministries, when Wake County fully took it over. It's the good old boys. I gotta know someone to get a job. And that's what it changed to. And there's a couple key figures I want to mention here. One, Angela Crawford, Human Resources Director. Two, Frank Lawrence, Center Director at the South Wilmington Street Men. And as an example, David Harris. And the current Wake County Housing Department Administration. Here's the thing: is that Morgan Mansa just got hired. She's the new housing department. Hired from within. She was there for about a year. Got hired from within. And looked over her profile, LinkedIn and everything. And you're like, wow, this looks like a young someone that just got out of college and got into a big position. Like, wow, they hired from within, but it's like with the last hire, Lorena McDowell, I looked at her profile on LinkedIn. Everything looks so daggone sketchy. When I try to do a check of the organizations that she's identified, went ahead and typed and see if her name popped up anywhere. Nothing. And then under those organizations, and then there was a lot of sketchy stuff. But here you have one now, Morgan Mansa. It looked like she was just hired because she was there, and someone made a decision to hire people without a lot of experience. And I had applied for the job, by the way. Open and competitive hiring. I've been advocating for that ever since Wake County government took over this South Wilmington Street Center for Men in Raleigh. What ended up happening is this: no one ever got hired in the guest services technician area that had a disability like me. I am in a wheelchair. I walk though, and no one ever got hired ever again in the Wake County government for that position, because a lot it was readily known out in the open. But that was just even the volumes of complaint against Frank Lawrence, that you got hired there by Frank. Frank would let you go to these separate agencies. He would hire you through them. You could come to the center, and then after a couple of visits at the center, you would get hired. And the latest one is his military friends. Apparently, one of his military friends had a child, a youngster that needed a job, and Frank decides to give him a job and circumventing, just proving that there's no open and competitive hiring. This issue has been raised through the EEOC complaints for years now with Wake County government. And in one EEOC complaint, me, Ronaldo Olvera, elder, uh, they just cited the fact, hey, it's de facto. You never hired a disabled person in that position ever again. And here's the thing is that one other example, which I know I saw when David Harris was there, the direct observation, in my professional opinion, from what I saw, it looked like David always got his friends, his social work people, students who were in social work in his realm. He got them positions at the center. So you have one person, David Harris, initiating that. Then you have another director at the center, Frank Lawrence, picking up in the same shoe. But here's the worst thing. The worst thing is HR, Angela Crawford. You know, you ever saw those reels about the past about how no one wanted to volunteer for a war and the draft, and people just random numbers pick them through. Your number got picked. That was it. I think that for every position, HR has to screen. All right, and I would say this: at least 60% of those hires need to be at random. That means HR gives any department, any hiring individual personnel a list of qualified individuals. Say, hey, go interview, see how you like them. But with the caveat is this: is that you can interview them, but it's just a yes or no interview. Yes, do they meet based on your interview? Does what they have in the resume flow with what is actually found when you meet with them in person? Yes or no? If yes, they get into the big bin of people who will randomly be chosen for the position. So it's, but that stuff don't happen. Or you just go ahead and say, HR just puts all the qualified applicants there who express that they meet the criteria for employment, and let HR do random selections, open and competitive. And then what ends up happening is this: once they do the selection, then go ahead and, well, if you've got the new employee and he doesn't meet the test, fire him. That's it. But here's the thing: it's called criminal negligence or fraud, which is our president's biggest thing. If you create a shortage of employees, okay, through the lack of hiring, so a person that's listed as employment is only supposed to make $30,000 per year, all of a sudden is making $75,000, $80,000. Why? Because of overtime. Why? Because there's a artificially induced shortage of employees because you're not using open and competitive hiring. You have this one person, Frank Lawrence, and or with in conjunction and approval of Angela Crawford, not hiring. So when you don't hire, you have shortage of employees. You have a shortage of employees. You don't have open and competitive hiring. You lack the talent that you need. This is what, like I said, a president is arguing right now. Wants to hire all his friends. But here's the thing is that that's fraud, because then you're causing the county to pay exorbitant amount in wages Okay, they paying a whole lot in wages because of a condition that Angela Crawford knows Frank Lawrence continually participates in, and you create a hostile work environment because if they didn't hire my friend, I'm gonna move them out. Or if they don't agree, if the persons that are hired or there don't agree with my moral values as a person, employee of the government, for example, meaning that this, for example, if I want to have preferential treatments towards people who use the center and employees, and I want to create a system based on my personal opinion, again, based on reflection, wherein, the people that use the center, people in need, they need help with their applications, benefits, VA benefits, Social Security benefits, unemployment benefits, food stamps, Medicaid. They need a whole lot of help with benefits. But here's the thing, is that if me as an employee working there say, I'll help you get your benefits, but I want to cut. Like, what? This thing happened to. I want a piece of your income. I want a piece of your money. And this is actually happening. And here's the thing, is that the call is for this, for the district attorney's office to go ahead and investigate to see if employees at the shelter are benefiting personally from their position by taking advantage of the very vulnerable population that they serve. That is what the call is for. And also, it's fraud to go ahead and have the county paying highways, and it's criminal negligence because they're using preferential tutoring in there. And one thing that I ended up, which is keep bothering me, it's just everybody participates in. There's this one lady at the housing department called Caitlin Warren. Warren is a familiar name. That's Scott Warren, the county attorney. So it's like, is Caitlin Warren related to Scott Warren? And if so, again, is this not evidence of just hiring your friends? No open and competitive hiring. Just give it to your friends. And this is what I encountered since I came to North Carolina. If you didn't know someone in the Wake County government, you wasn't going to get no job. It's a small town, so that's it. That's the way it's been. And it was funny because when the administration changes, for example, in social services, you have Regina Pettaway. All of a sudden, you have an influx of a whole lot of black people getting hired. Then you have, I forget his name was Guzman or whatever, Hispanic guy. All of a sudden, a whole lot of Hispanic people get hired. And so, all those trends would never have transpired if you just used open and competitive hiring. That's it. And the evidence in terms of statistics is there to show when certain peoples are hired, they will bring their folk in. And it's sad because it continues, and then you have what Mr. President talked about. It's not based on your expertise, it's based on friendship. But here it's worse. I'm asking a criminal investigation be launched by the district attorney's office to see the fraud perpetrated on Wake County government, the abuse of the needy, vulnerable population that used to that center, who are forced to pay money just to get their benefits and so forth, because there's also a lack of, for example, the center should have case managers, should have paraprofessionals to help these guys get back on their feet. There should be a whole lot of supported housing programs, whatever. That's another topic, another video. But here's the thing, is that it should be done legally through specified employees that are hired for that task, that you know will help these guys get the hundreds of thousands of dollars that they owe in VA benefits and Social Security, disability, and so forth. Help them get back on their feet. Um, get them back on this under the Harris legacy, because it total failed, because then you couldn't keep case managers there, because you hire your friends, all of a sudden your friends want to leave and go on some whatever. So I'm just asking that you look into the practice as a DA to look at the fraud, look at the waste. Okay, Frank Lawrence, Candace Brown. Okay, and just go ahead and look at these things, and look at Angela Crawford. Why is it 2025 and you still don't have open and competitive hiring? Doesn't make sense. As I said, one great example you can't undo. You never hired a disabled person as a guest services technician to be at the front desk, aside from me, to my knowledge, in my opinion. Thank you very much. Please investigate. Please do something. Take care.